Good evening and a very warm welcome to Radio and Television Tonga news package for the hour. Making headlines, Tonga records sextortion scams. Tonga police confirms the inquest into the death of a woman in Vava'o as she died from smoke inhalation and severe burning in the house fire. And Sione Finausis Fa has been reappointed as the Solicitor General for his third consecutive year in the role for another 4 years, serving at the Attorney General's office in Nuku'alofa. We'll have these and more stories later on in the bulletin, including the latest from sports. Now, I'm Vaifono Tupola with the stories in detail. Tonga has seen a huge increase in the number of cases involving children and teens being threatened into sending images online known as sextortion and threatening them to pay money. Mark Ake with the detail.
During a televised program of the Ministry of Police, Kalisi Tohifolau said that people are being sent horrifying messages threatening to post videos of their most intimate moments on the internet. The concern is that this impacts the Tongan way of life and a large sum of money is lost due to the victim panicking. Tohifolau added that some cases have reached the court of law. She added that according to crimes recorded, sextortion starts on any site or app, including Messenger or WhatsApp, where people meet and communicate. Sextortion scammers tend to threaten to post a revealing picture or video of their victim if they aren't sent any money. More often, this crime starts when young people believe they are communicating with someone their own age who is interested in a relationship or with someone who is offering something of value. Scammers may also threaten their victims with violence to get the victim to share personal images. The shame, fear, and confusion the victim goes through often prevents them from asking for help or reporting the abuse. Tonga Police is urging people to be more careful and report any cybercrimes immediately as they try to ensure that victims are adequately protected from a range of behaviors related to non-consensual taking and sharing of intimate images. The cybercrime was approved in 2003 and the law to the Technology Cybercrime Act was approved last year. Both acts are linked to these extortion cases.
Tonga police have confirmed that an inquest into the death of a woman in a house fire earlier this week was held yesterday. The inquest found that the deceased was a 46-year-old woman who died from a smoke inhalation and severe burning in a house fire. Tonga police have named the victim as Tu'imala Winse Moala. We'll have more on that story. According to the police statement, the victim's husband escaped the fire by jumping from the rooftop of their 3-story house after a fire broke out in the 2nd story. Police investigations of the fire reported from Niafu Vava'u at around 5 a.m. on Monday morning. The inquest was chaired by the district officer of Niafu and attended by a family member of the deceased as well as members of the community. Police inquiries revealed that the deceased and her husband were tenants of the 3-story wooden house owned by famous businessman Joseph Ramanlal. Police stated at around midnight on Monday they went to bed on the 3rd floor of the house only to be awakened by a loud cracking sound from downstairs. When they opened the bedroom door, the flame had already engulfed the building, leaving them no way out but to tear down another door and climb to the rooftop. From the rooftop, they tried and jumped to the deck on the 2nd floor, and in trying to escape the extreme flames, the husband held his wife's hand so that they could jump down to the ground, but she let go of his hand because she was too terrified to jump. Meanwhile, as the husband reached the ground, he called out for help and a male neighbor rushed over with a ladder, but unfortunately it was too short to reach the 2nd floor. Both the husband and the male neighbor then urged her to jump and they would catch her, but she refused as she was too confused, panicked and terrified, and in the end the fire caught up with her. The origin of the place is still unknown due to the extreme damage caused by the fire to the house. The deceased was laid to rest yesterday in Vava'u, with Tonga police is aware of misleading speculations and information being spread over social media and hereby ask members of the public to please respect the deceased and her family at the time of grief. Trauma is one of the major problems that many people in Tonga struggle with, especially these days after the volcanic eruption and tsunami that occurred earlier this year. Now, 2 coordinators from the Bible Study of the South Pacific are conducting a 1-week workshop here in Tonga for all church leaders so that they may learn ways they can help out those who are still dealing with trauma in the kingdom. Mark Ake tells you more.
A representative from the Bible Society of the South Pacific, Sefri Miller, said that the aim of the workshop is to strengthen the knowledge of church leaders in terms of trauma healing. He says this workshop is focused on healing those in trauma by engaging church leaders using the Bible.
So this trauma healing basically is almost like a Bible study type. And secondly, it's more engaging rather than me coming out to talk to you and trying to give you some answers. It's basically giving you an opportunity for you to make sense of what you have gone through mentally and also spiritually. And in that way, you are engaging the people and taking the people through a process towards healing. So that's the basic approach that we are using. It's more community-based, it's biblically based, and secondly, it is more personal in the sense where you tell your story, share your story, and you engage with the content.
He adds they are hoping that church leaders will take what they learned from this workshop and help out their church members and their communities.
This post-trauma counseling is basically to train church leaders that these church leaders will take this healing out to their communities and the congregation that they look after. And we know that Tonga was hit by a tsunami and also a volcanic eruption. And as part of that has already happened, but now we've come in after 8 or 6 months later, and then to conduct this training so that the people who are affected by the trauma of these natural disasters would be helped.
Meanwhile, one of the participants, Savieti Tuitupo, says one of his responsibilities as a church leader is to determine the health and safety of his flock, and this training is helping him gain more knowledge on how to tackle trauma problems within his church and community. The Bible Society of the South Pacific hopes to conduct this workshop in other countries such as Samoa and the Solomon Islands. This workshop is a disaster relief project for Tonga and is funded by the Australian counterparts and other international organizations.
The Tonga Civil Society Organization is setting plans that can hurt the people's voice in government's planning. The CEO for the Ministry of Finance launched the completion of the Civil Society Engagement Framework that connects civil society organizations with the government's plans and policies in the kingdom. This framework was created and based on the results of surveys that was carried out by the Bow-Tashery Institute in the past 2 years in relation to 4 major areas of the civil society organization. These areas included youth, women, people living with disabilities, and the energy department. The CEO of the Finance Ministry, Christina Toimi-Api, says they hope that this framework will allow the civil society organization to work collaboratively with the government, especially through awareness programs to communities. Not only that, but this is an opportunity for people to be aware of opportunities they can take to make their voices heard and be part of the government's plan. Climate change is a major issue in Tonga as it is included in the framework. The director of the civil society, Keasi Pongi, said they are hoping that the government would accept this framework since it will benefit the vulnerable and underrepresented communities in Tonga, such as women, people living with disabilities, and youth. The formation of the framework was funded by the European Union. Sione Finau Sisfa has been reappointed as the Solicitor General for 4 years, serving at the Attorney General's office in Nuku'alofa. The Public Service Commission stated earlier this week that the reappointment will see Sisfa in his 3rd consecutive term as the Solicitor General, effective from his contract signing. Sisfa is a senior law practitioner at the Attorney General's office with extensive legal skills and experience, having continuously served the government at the AG office for over 22 years. In consultation with the Attorney General, the Solicitor General is responsible for ensuring effective and appropriate governance across Tonga's legislative and legal frameworks and for providing government with high-quality legal advice and representation of government in all civil, lands and family litigation and other matters of law. The Solicitor General is also responsible for managing the administrative, operational and broader functions and activities of the Attorney General's office. And the ambassador of the People's Republic of China handed over 18,950 pa'anga to the Tonga Broadcasting Commission with the aim of helping live broadcasts of the Rugby League World Cup sports event and coverages of the by-elections earlier this month. Mark Ake was at the program and filed this report.
This sponsorship from the ambassador of the People's Republic of China included the live broadcast of the Tonga national netball team, Tala, and their participation in the Pacific Oz Netball Series. The ambassador of China to Tonga, His Excellency Zhao Xiaolin, says he hopes this financial support will make the people of Tonga happy as they get to tune in to the games from their own homes.
The embassy is very happy to donate this small fund for TBC to shoot the by-election and also the sports games. We hope this will help TBC to broadcast all the events so the Tongan people will know more about the election and the sports and the sports.
The assistance was officially handed over to the CEO of Tonga Broadcasting Commission, Viola Ulakai, on behalf of the chairman of the ICT board.
The receiving of this financial support for the buying of the broadcasting rights of the Rugby League World Cup, and especially the Mate Ma'atonga Games, and the expenses for the broadcasting of the national netball team, Tala, at its overseas tournaments, and also the live broadcast of the coverage of the by-election. It helps strengthening and sustaining the national public service broadcaster in all its services, both on Radio Tonga and Television Tonga, to the people of Tonga. TPC is always grateful to such support as it helps to promote the further enhancements of the business and service responsibilities of the Tonga Broadcasting Commission for the people of Tonga.
She thanked the People's Republic of China for the great assistance as it allows the Commission to purchase the rights to broadcasting the World Cup live. The aim is to allow everyone to tune in to the World Cup, sports programs, and other events broadcasted by the Commission.
That wraps up this evening's news package, but before we part, here's one final look at today's top stories. Tonga records sextortion scams. Tonga police confirms the inquest into the death of a woman in Vava'u as she died from smoke inhalation and severe burning in the house fire. And Sione Finau Siswa has been reappointed as the Solicitor General for his third consecutive year in the role for another 4 years, serving at the Attorney General's office in Nuku'alofa. And that's it for tonight. Thank you for your company. I'm Wafanato Gola. Good evening.